Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking big.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back for week number 4 of the ECAC Top 8 Plays of the Week. Now, at this point, you're probably realizing two things. One, that's right, I'm going to be with you all season long as we jump through the best moments of every week. And number two, wow, Septilence really only wears one thing when he's not on the clock. And I can't even defend myself, it's a comfortable outfit. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into week number 4 and see what these players brought to the table to beat out their opponents and be victorious. Wake Forest was already up a game, there were 4 minutes left on the clock, and they just couldn't find that first point to take the lead and put them up 2-0 in the series. But in a final moment of success, Malone clears it from one coast to another and finds an open goal, giving Wake Forest the lead once again.
These Champ 3 and Champ 2 is doing. I mean, seriously, look at Malone making advantages for himself.
Wow.
And he will put Wake Forest on the map. This game number 5 could just go their way.
I just want to say Malone just said, I'm going to show you what a Champ 3 can do. All right, buddy?
On a control map in Overwatch, your team must capture 100% of a point to succeed. 99 just won't cut it. King Rock from Keene University was fully aware of that and didn't just find a Death Blossom. He found a full-blown Death Garden to keep his team alive.
Sound barrier to go away as well, especially now that you have your own. It's going to be a little bit more breathing room. Doesn't look like the Winneco. Okay, there we are. Now it's coming up big. This Reaper has bloomed.
That was just gorgeous amount of patience coming.
GVSU Blue found themselves up by 5 rounds, and it's always better to turn that 5 into a 6. It's incredible, however, that this team doesn't always need all 5. It can come down to just one player and how much they can really GVS do.
An Illusion delivers with efficiency. 3 in a row. No time left, even if they had the chance at orbital strike out of the last.
This battle between Muskingum and St. Francis was insanely close. Only 3 players in a round, and there were 1 player left on both sides, both down to their final stock. Things were looking pretty strong for St. Francis, their Luigi only at 40%, but it was up to Splat to do anything but.
Just keep him off stage with that Zare.
Oh!
That spot right here for Teo.
If that block didn't disappear,
oh
no way!
Oh! Just steps on the
pressure plate.
A tale as old as time, Pace White versus Pace Gold, and Pace White's morale was through the roof as they won a fight, but little did they know, this was Lofi's world, and they wouldn't be living in it for much longer.
Going in with the blade.
Uh-oh, blade is out. It's hacked. It doesn't matter, though. Slashes away for 2. Looking for a 3rd. Looking for 4. Won't get it just yet on the blade. However, the slash and dash works out. Lofi's got 3. Looking for everybody else on this team. It's a white.
The Inkling versus Ganondorf matchup is not very good for Ganondorf, but let's be honest, which matchups are? In this clip, we're going to be watching as JD from Fisher learns the hard way that you never really want to meet an Inkling off stage.
Sooner if you don't find that kill confirm or that kill or a bomb off stage like that.
That bomb angle
guarding is so good today.
Yeah, that bomb angle was beautiful.
Week 4 of ECAC Rocket League was absolutely insane. CMU and FC were tied up 0-0, but it was Gand who told FC they shall not pass game number 2.
Side of FC, they've only got 1 player for a moment there. They're trying to recollect.
We're at the Collegiate Esports Commissioners Cup. Let's make some noise.
Oh, and it's gonna jump into it.
Corner judge is good for 1, 2, yeah. He needs more.
They're doing even more here. You gotta touch the point. Mr. College walks it in.
Toy Boy is gonna drop.
Knife him.
Right out front.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, running.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to ECAC week number 1, the Spring Split 2023 edition here on Esports U. I am Septilence, joined by my great friend and co-caster Soy, and I cannot imagine a better way to kick off a season than the two teams we're about to see duke it out.
Oh yeah, these two schools are always a blast to watch on stream. Fisher College going up against St. Thomas Aquinas, and these two squads are ripping and ready to rumble here in 2023. It's going to be a fantastic day.
Yeah, and if you take a look up here, FCS, thank goodness I pointed the right way with an inverted camera. That is a Fisher College spring. So, you know, we're going to be seeing a lot of different players, a lot of newer players from Fisher College here with this spring roster. And I'm very excited because they've got to prove themselves. If you can imagine big shoes to fill, making them 2 sizes bigger, having to prove yourself at a just absolutely phenomenal top-tier program like Fisher College, you're coming out here and Soy, this isn't going to be an easy win for anybody. This is St. Thomas Aquinas we're talking about. Like, this is going to be a duke out through and through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, St. Thomas Aquinas is kind of known for their bracket runs, that they go deep into playoff runs. I mean, you're talking about a team that got second at the Mid-Atlantic Invitational just last year. So it's a squad that's got a lot of expectations behind them. It's a rough start to the start of the season going up against one of the big names and big colleges here at the ECAC, but it's still one that they're going to have to battle through and see what they can do here as we're getting ready for game number 1.
Game number 1 kicking off early, and it's PT versus Wolf, one of my favorite characters in the game versus one of my least favorite. I'll let you figure out which is which, but right now it's Neo Joe from St. Thomas, a well-known and loved player hero, always their opener, I believe, or at least commonly so. Seems to be in the front of their roster and wants to make those waves as early as possible, because, so I'm sure you know this, but for those watching at home, in these traditional crew battles, you need to find as many stocks as you can early, and that is not a good way to do it.
Oh, Moxie's cooking right now. That's a 0 to death to start off the season, and they're looking for more here. The Ivysaur is going to be in a world of hurt here. This is combo trouble, and they're nearly going to die. Yes, they are. They don't have their jump left. That's 2 0 to deaths back to back. Who is this Moxie, and where did he get his confidence from?
So I truly have no idea. This is incredible. 2 0 to deaths back to back, and all of a sudden Neo Joe back against the wall. The fact we're even staying on Squirtle right now is amazing due to the fact that Wolf hits like a bus. He is insane, and he is terrifying to go up against when you are as light as a paperclip itself. There's the grab into the down throw, dash attack off stage. Ivysaur has to reappear just to get themselves back on stage, to get that vine grab onto stage, trying to go up, find it down air off that side platform. I'm going to be falling just a little bit short. This is incredible. I talked about making a difference, making an impact, and Moxie bringing out just that. The down air does find Charizard, and it's not going to be able to find the stock yet, but something tells me, Soy, this stock might be just around the corner.
Yeah, 106 right now, and the Charizard's here to stay for the rest of it, but not for long. Charged forward smash, and Moxie emphatic to start off the day. Only 45% taken.
45% taken, only 90 seconds in total, Soy. So that is 2% a second from Moxie for the entirety of that match. I cannot imagine a better way to kick things off, to open up early, and you completely dominate there. You leave 3 stocks on the board. You've eliminated a player completely from the equation, and it's scary. Going for this reset coming up, I truly don't know what STAC wants to bring to the table here. Is it going to be a PT rundown again, or are we going to be looking at something a little different? You know, that's shaky. That is not how you want to start things off. You want to bring out, I don't even know what went wrong. Like, I don't think that was PT's fault by any means, Soy. What do you think kind of caused that collapse?
Well, honestly, I mean, Moxie, to start off, just got everything they wanted off of every combo, seemingly, right? Just, Wolf has a lot of... Think of Wolf like you would think of Sheik, but the damage comes online a whole lot sooner, and the ability to kill comes online a lot earlier, right? Because Wolf just hits a little bit harder and is a little bit slower than Sheik, but at the end of the day, it's generally the same combos. Dash attack, forward air, so on and so forth. You just kind of string along aerials, especially if you can land up airs like they were able to do. But also calling out jump at a disadvantage. They were able to get the spike on the second stock and taking those stocks early. But the biggest thing is that Squirtle got completely shut down, right? As Pokemon trainer, you have all those options between Squirtle, Ivysaur, Charizard. And Squirtle is so good in the early game because very small hitbox, very speedy, and very good combo game. And they just could not hit in at all because of the way Moxie was playing. Once they got one hit, all of a sudden Squirtle is no longer viable. They're going to die at 70% to one strong hit from Wolf. They have to change to Ivysaur, and they rarely got the chance to do so.
Yeah, I mean, it's when the combo becomes the combo food. Like, it was just completely Squirtle trying to come through, find anything, and you nailed it, so I could not find a darn tootin' thing through there. 45% in total. Just unfortunately, Moxie was ready for it. Came warmed up, was not playing any games, and establishes a very early lead for Fisher College, taking all 3 stocks in just truly the blink of an eye. 90 seconds in a game that could last a maximum of 10 minutes. It's incredible that Fisher College Spring is coming out. And, at the beginning, I'm saying, okay, this is, these aren't the familiar Fisher faces, but clearly these are names we're probably going to get to know pretty well if the rest of the squad looks like this.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And you got to remember, too, Fisher College is a big school, especially for their esports scene. So there's a very good chance that a lot of these players, even if they're not household names, have gotten to play against some of the household names that we know and love from the previous seasons, right? So there's a little bit of that experience and a little bit of that kind of, not player crossover, but I mean, in terms of that, knowledge and matchup experience kind of transitioning over to this squad. So certainly playing to effect in a matchup like this where Moxie just comes out the gate swinging.
So Wolf comes out again, right? Moxie's certainly not going anywhere. All 3 stocks on the board. And I'm not positive if they have to play Wolf again, if they're allowed to swap, but I don't see why they would if they're playing like that. I think the Wolf is very likely to come out. So sorry to put your general game knowledge to the test here. If you're looking at this, you're like, okay, there's a Wolf on the field. Maybe it's best for us to bring out...
Well, I mean, one part, it depends on what St. Thomas Aquinas brings to the table.
Sure.
But I do think in terms of what Wolf kind of lacks, that ground speed can be only really quickly made up with something like dash attack. So you can kind of go about it a couple different ways. You want to get this character off stage, right? That recovery is real lackluster, and there's not too much you can do once you're kind of stuck on ledge, but it's easier said than done because Wolf has a lot of tools. They've got a reflector, they've got a projectile. I'm looking at the old rosters that we've got from STAC in the past, and I think if you can get someone like, say, for example, Zack Attack into the lineup, I think might be a good pick here. He's a Terry player, and Terry can kill Wolf very early, and is not going to be too afraid to take those early combos in theory, but the biggest problem with that matchup, it's very explosive. There's not going to be a whole lot of edge guarding in a matchup like that. You have to make your on-stage interactions count. Terry's very good at that. Obviously can take stocks very early once they're at a high percent, but that survivability has to be the name of the game.
Yeah, Terry doesn't rhyme with scary for nothing. You know what I mean? It's very important to bring out a character that can work well. You've got that DLC privilege. You like to take early combos, like you said, if you are playing Terry. So I agree with you. So I think that was a phenomenal analysis to kind of talk about what, hypothetically can come out. But like you mentioned, we don't really know what the full roster is happening right now. We know that there was a Terry player. Brand new split. People love to spice things up on us. People love to go crazy with their changes, so we truly don't know what's going to be coming out next. We do know that they are currently striking bans. Yeah, so they're deciding, is it, do we announce our character first or our stages first? It's stage ban first, and then they'll discuss which characters are coming out next. Characters aside, again, we know it's Moxie. Moxie's not going anywhere. They found 3 stocks. They're going to keep playing until they lose all 3. They keep playing like that. We might not even see the rest of the Fisher squad, but it's on the side of STAC, St. Thomas Aquinas, on who they want to bring to the table. It's speed versus speed, it's aerials versus center stage play. What do you do? What holes do you poke in a Wolf player to try to get through there? But I feel like on the side of STAC, they're at a double disadvantage because they had 90 seconds to learn about that player, Soy. That was it. And then all of a sudden the match is over. You didn't get to, you condition him to XYZ, you can punish whatever. I'm not sure we saw the same move twice. I mean, it was just so fast, but as the villager is locked in, I'm very comfortable to take the guess it's Derpager from STAC coming in, and I think this makes eons of sense here, if that sentence made any sense. Derpager, arguably the best player from STAC, and this is the player to do it.
Yeah, Derpager has been kind of the anchor of sorts at times for the side of St. Thomas Aquinas, known for being that X factor for the side of the Spartans. We'll see if they can do so here. It's still a tough matchup in theory here for Derpager because of that reflector always being a threat, and a lot of Villager's kit is projectile based. But if you give Derpager the time to set up things like the Lloyd rockets, like that tree, things can get very scary very quickly for Moxie. They have to be very aware And it's going to be that mind game that's going to be what to watch for in this set is, oh my mercy, who goes for shine combos at this stage?
You know, so I think that's part of the reason Moxie is so terrifying, because I was thinking the exact same thing. Who is doing that? But clearly it is Moxie. Derpager right now has no time to set up, has no time to breathe, has no time to even blink before Moxie collapses on top of them again. These projectile setups completely null and void. They're trying to condition the projector, or the reflector, excuse me, and they're not able to do so. Short hop forward air 3 times in a row, racks out 35%. Deflector does find the Lloyd with the shield. It is from Derpager to keep it open. Goes for the slingshot into Lloyd combo, but it's just the spacing from Moxie so far. You wouldn't even be able to tell how slow Wolf normally is with the speed Moxie has been able to find.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that this character was, highly rated when the game first came out. Had a little bit of a drop-off, but there's still plenty of players who are rocking this character and having a ton of success in bracket tournaments for it. And Moxie showing why they're shutting down Derpager so far. 100% though, so potentially a stock could be taken soon, but again, Derpager has to have time for those potential setups in the first place. Maybe an edge guard here. No, the Lloyd Rocket coming out a little too slow. These aerials are going to start to really rack up on Moxie. Moxie's got to be careful here. The jabs fights through, and every trade is going to go in Moxie's favor, though, because of the power of Wolf.
The power of Wolf, it's what those trades are all about, and it's what the character is all about. We have a 1% differential right now with a full stock lead on the side of Moxie. I mean, they have absolutely eaten every single stock they needed to. They lose 1 for the price of 4 right now. So, Soy, there is a world where even losing that stock, Moxie can continue to body through Derpager, through that final player, and already put Fisher Spring up 1-0 on the series. Possibly going to be finding a combo once again. Looks for the up air, but it's the back air that seals the deal onto Derpager. Villager down to their final stock already. Moxie 13% on stock number 2.
It's just so difficult for Derpager to get in and get these combos you're seeing here. That was their first real string together of being able to catch where Moxie was fading to. But now you see, once stage control is being established here by Derpager, it's so much easier to follow up. Look at that. That, I believe, was a 0 to death there once again, and now we're back to a tied game.
Yeah, crazy. Our third 0 to death of the night, and coming from 2 different players. It's pretty amazing to see that. I think that was a 0 to death. Tied up game. It's going to be a 6% differential right now. Don't check the math. It's 100% wrong, but now I know it is 7% on the board as Moxie is going to have that gap closed. The neutral B charge comes out. The Lloyd has to be shielded away, and I like the change of play we're seeing from Derpager. They're trying to slow it down. They're trying to force Moxie to adapt, and Moxie has to use this time to try to learn what can I do next. This rushdown style is no longer working. Derpager is doing a very good job creating this space. How do I break through it? And they find that time. They punish the Lloyd. They get up close. They find 45% Soy, and now Derpager, one strong hit from that final stock being taken.
Oh, he had him too. The air dodge came, and he had the landing, or read on the landing, but the forward smash was just too slow.
Wow!
Follow-up is, oh my! The charge down smash is going to take it, and down goes Derpager.
Moxie just tearing through STAC right now. Derpager does very well. You know, if that was the first matchup, things could feel great. Okay, they beat us, but only for a single stock left. We can tie things up right away. But with that being the second player to go down, Soy, this is currently 7 stocks to 3. Right now. There's 1 player left from STAC who's going to have to give us a miracle run in our first set of the entire season of week number 1. Somebody needs to be the hero here, or STAC is already going to find themselves down 0-1 on the series. And I can't believe we've still got 2 question marks on the side of Fisher College Spring. This is incredible that we've still only seen 1 player, yet somehow they're 1 player away from winning this first setup.
I mean, this is the danger of a team like Fisher College, right? This is a squad that's got a ton of experience, and Moxie showing up in a huge way early here. And I think part of the reason they're having such success is their adaptability, right? We talk about Derpager and how strong they are as a player, and how I was talking about how they need the time to get the setups in the first place. But part of the reason that they were able to mount that comeback and keep it close was because they completely changed their pace of play. They all of a sudden stopped going for Lloyd rockets and stopped going for that chip damage. Instead, they got up close. They were landing soft hit nairs into combos, right? And that was what really helped them get back into the game. And Moxie had to then quickly adapt from that point. And all of a sudden, you saw that they were able to read the defensive options a little bit cleaner. You saw, I think you even caught it, right? Once Derpager got back into that kind of flow state of, I'm going to approach with these aerials. I'm just going to poke him out and approach and get closer and closer. He got the timing down perfectly, Moxie did, and was able to get in the moment that Derpinger landed after one of those aerials. And all of a sudden, it went from 0% to about 50, 60%. All off of one opening.
One mistake.
Huge.
Yeah, it's incredible that Moxie has been able to adapt through a PT. Oh, okay, no offense to Neo Joe, but I don't know if there was much adaptation. Moxie had a game plan, stuck to it, and won. It was simple as that. There was no change in the formula. That was just Moxie knowing exactly what they needed to do to find success. But with Derpinger, the adaptation was tried and true. We saw Derpinger doing a very good job forcing the pace to consistently change. Okay, up close, far away, and Moxie eventually did find a way to tip the scales in their favor, take that third and final stock. And as Moxie is down to one stock of their own, there is a chance for this third player from STAC to at least show us the second member. And Soy, we're going into a full-blown Wolf Ditto with a 2-stock disadvantage.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how experienced they are at the Wolf Ditto, because Dittos are always a little bit of a double-edged sword, right? Sometimes you're evenly matched, and sometimes one person just knows their kit a little bit better.
Absolutely.
Moxie versus Amp this time around, and Amp, interesting that they're opting for the Wolf Ditto in the first place, because they've got a couple different characters that they've opted for in the past, but the Wolf seemingly is the tried and true for them as well. But all they really need here to get their wheels under them is this first stock, but it's easier said than done.
Easier said than done against a behemoth, a beast of a player like Moxie, who has been tearing it up on the field so far, 44-28, and Moxie is finding themselves in a bit of a weird spot. I think all players can agree that playing a Ditto in this game, playing against your own character, is notably different than playing against a different character due to the fact that you're using the same flowcharts for success. So you're no longer just worried about what you're doing. You have to be thinking 3, 5, 7 steps ahead to find out what they're going to do and punish it to make sure you're not making those same mistakes. Moxie, 89%, 68 from Amp, and if Amp can take this without losing a stock, there's a very real chance they can get at least down to the final player of Fisher Spring, but like you said, Soy, easier said than done, and it is not done quite yet.
Low recovery here from Amp, trying to get back to stage. 81% is still in danger for Amp. They're going to be able to shield that side B, but we've seen a couple times Moxie go for some of these harder reads on full charge forward smash and the down smash that was able to take Derpinger out. So this is where Amp has to be really careful, but the up tilt, sneaky good there underneath Moxie, and Moxie goes down.
Moxie will finally bite the dust there at technically their own hands. One Wolf dismisses another from this mortal coil, and we will finally learn who the second player of Fisher Spring is going to be. A really strong moment. If you're Moxie, you've got to be stoked about your results. 6 stocks for 3 is incredible. You have put success right in your team's hands right now. It is their series to lose. They are just one player away. They've got 2 players to make it happen. So even if this next player only finds 1 or 2 stocks, you've still got someone in the wings to find that success.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long road back here for St. Thomas Aquinas to try and bring this series back. But Fisher College, I mean, we talked about it. This roster's got a lot of depth, so they're going to have to make that decision now as to who they want to send in, which matchup they want to go into this second bracket. And it's going to be interesting to see, because Amp, I think, is going to be locked in probably for the Wolf for at least this series. Maybe changes it for next time around for the second series, regardless of the result of this one. But either way, you know that you're going up against the Wolf, and that's good news probably for Fisher College, because as you can see, they've got a Wolf player. They've got that experience under their belt, so that matchup knowledge also going to be kind of on point for the side of the Falcons.
Yeah, it's funny. We often give players an advantage if they're playing against a character that someone on their team also plays. But I'll be honest, and I don't mean this in a rude way at all, just from a simple analysis standpoint, did not feel like Joe or Derpinger was ready for the Wolf. So it's fascinating that they do have a team captain who plays Wolf, and they weren't completely prepared for the matchup. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a tough matchup. There are people out there that think Wolf is a top 10 character in the game. I mean, he is very, very strong, but I hope we do see a little bit of adaptation, a little bit of change, at least into our second series, our third if we get there. But this series, not over yet. So I STAC, like you said, this is a mountain to climb, but they have taken the first couple of steps. They've reached the smaller summit, and now they're looking to get all the way to the peak of this mountain. They've taken down 1, 2 more to go with only 1 player left on their roster.
stranger things have happened in these
Very
formats,
true.
right? We've seen strange comebacks at
I've seen
times.
Zerpiger 9 stock. I've
Yeah.
seen Zerpiger 9 stock. Like,
it's something crazy to see. But if anyone could do it, Amp has got to be the guy. And there's something to be said about when you're in the spotlight like this, right? When you are on stream for the first time in a while and you've got this player that's going to be locked in and now you don't know what you're going up against. You're just thinking to yourself, okay, well, bring on the next one, like let's just get the ball rolling and we'll see where I can go from here. And that's kind of how I think Amp likes to play the game. You saw, I think part of the reason that he had such success against Moxie in that opening stock was because in Dittos, obviously you know each other's kit, which makes mix-ups even more valuable. And Amp can kind of thrive in that chaos, right? Sometimes the not true combo is the correct thing to do because everyone's thinking, oh, I got hit by dash attack, I'm going to get hit by forwarder next. All of a sudden, Moxie comes in with a charged up down smash or something to be able to take a stock. Those are the key mix-ups that don't always work out, but it's another wrinkle to the game plan, and that's what Amp can bring to the table here for St. Thomas Aquinas.
Without a doubt. So when you and your opponent are dipping your feet in the same pool of knowledge, you've got to make sure you know more than they do, and Amp does win that out with a 2-stock advantage, but finding that first stock was critical for the play because now they go fully powered, full stocks, full HP into this next matchup of Fisher College, and I'm intentionally not checking who it is because I like being surprised. I think it's very fun, but the player going to be joining in a second. I will leak, it is Battlefield coming up next. So the triplat we've seen, I wish I wrote down what stages we've seen. It was Battlefield, PS2, Battlefield. So 3 out of the 4 maps we've seen have all been Battlefield, which there's been a wolf every time. So I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. Triplat's always kind of playing to the combo style, right? The platforms are there to help extend your combos and another kind of wrinkle in the edge guard game. But Amp certainly a fan of the stage and will likely try and go back to it if he can. I'm curious to see if there's any kind of stage mix-ups that we'll see later on for some off picks. Like Kalos, for example, is one that is going to be I think particularly interesting because of the way that Amp likes to play. You think of Wolf, a lot of Wolf's kills mostly come off of either the top of the screen or the bottom. It's very few that come off the sides, east to west, even though that's where most of the damage comes from, is his combo ability spreads east-west, but the kills come north-south. So to see that kind of wrinkle on a stage like that might be worth looking into for the side of Fisher College, depending on their character matchup. We know a couple of the players on this team, have at least some experience in the stream scene. Sockham 16 comes to mind, and that's an interesting matchup if they opt to go with someone who's a little bit more veteran to the scene. But this is also a chance for Fisher College to kind of experiment. You've got 2-player lead here, or at least 1-player lead, I guess. But a full player kind of to work with to potentially take the advantage with. So you have that kind of agency to experiment here for Fisher College if you so choose.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Soy. And there is kind of this, and I don't want to say this without accidentally bashing competitive integrity, but it's like, it's only week 1. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you do make a blunder, if you do slip up, like, it's really not the end of the world. If you want to try something, this is a comfortable time to do it because you've got the entire rest of the season to make up for any mistakes that slip out in week number 1. So I think you're completely correct. If you want to try giving somebody else that little bit of spotlight, if you want to help somebody get those, oh no, I'm on stream jitters out of the way, week 1 is the best place to do it, especially when you're up a player. It's not like, oh, we're up a player, we're going to throw the match. But at the same time, it's like you can wiggle a little bit more and feel a little more comfortable in your choices, knowing that, okay, if we slip up here, it's not going to cost us a full loss.
Yeah, and for some players, sometimes they need that, first step, that first dip into the water to get really warmed up to the scene. A lot of players often, don't realize what they look like the first time they're, playing on stream, and then they go, oh yeah, that option was terrible. But in the moment that but in the moment you're thinking, all right, this is the right thing to do.
Without a doubt. I mean, I've been there, no doubt. I'm sure we all have. But now as Mateo comes in for Fisher Spring, the Palutena is confused. Oh, because they chose Battlefield and we're on PS2. That's what happened. I think somebody selected the wrong stage. Mateo's going to go ahead and go for the reset. I was like, because for a second I thought it was somebody taking stocks because they lost, and I was like, wait, but Amp had all 3 stocks. I was like, okay. Anyway, I'm 99% sure it's because they chose Battlefield. They ended up on PS2. They're gonna hop right back in a minute. But Palutena, I'm glad we have that information now, Soy, because I wonder. Hopefully, you can shed a little more light on this. Is Palu gonna have the same issues that Villager did against Wolf, where she's not gonna have the room to set up like she wants to find success?
Well, it's an interesting type of matchup because actually I think this really plays to Fisher College's favor. It's talking about how Moxie, in theory, the Wolf will struggle being off stage. And Palu has a similar kind of combo game. You think of the Nair train in particular, right? Just, circles, 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 and they continue to rack up that percentage, already trying to use it on shield. And, again, combo ability working north-south to get Wolf off stage. And Palu's edge guard game and that projectile are going to be really kind of a nuisance for Amp to deal with. But, again, if Amp gets in, the combos are still true. They can still easily rack up percent. So it's really about who gets that first opening.
First opening has not really been claimed, as we are tied up exactly at 52% on the board. And, the gap is opened just as fast as it is closed. A grab coming through, down throw onto the far left platform, and up air should be able to find a little bit more damage, but even Palu taking a stock at 94% is going to be tough for her up air when you're that low. On the stage, TP's right into a back air, and that is Mateo, unfortunately losing that stock early.
Yeah, an up B that gets caught there by the back air, interestingly enough, not opting to go for the ledge, and Amp completely ready for it. So Amp already off to a good start here, but they are at 115. The question is, how much can they get on this first stock here? Because the stock should, in theory, drop soon, but for Palu, it's about finding that raw, strong hit, something like back air or a smash attack, but those are easier said than done. That being said, there is that back air. It comes out extremely quickly and has a ton of knockback, and it's able to get Amp down to his second stock.
She heard you loud and clear on that one, so I said message received. It took that stock very early on, grabbing a down throw once again, goes for the forward air off the left side of the stage, and a huge shout out to Mateo from Fisher here, completely close to the gap on Amp. There was over a stock of differential, and now Mateo's gone as far as not only closing that gap, but taking the lead as well. The perfect parry comes through, or a 1% differential. And I think a grab back throw from either of them could really make a difference. Explosive Flame going to be blocked out, and this is the Palu getting that stage presence once again. Wolf, you found yourself off stage, my friend. What do? You recover up, abuse the iframes to get back onto stage, try to reestablish your once known dominance.
Down smash, pull the trigger on it just too early, and the dash attack's going to come through to help Mateo get back. Dash attack of his own from Amp, but using that up B to kind of slide cancel off of the platform there is huge. Leaves you potentially open to throw out another move if they get too aggressive here. But look at how even these percents are. This is huge here. Whoever finds that next strong opening, dash attack, not going to be able to do it quite yet. Amp hasn't used that up tilt that was so good in the first set, but he hits the shield instead. Back there still not going to be able to do it. Air dodge does get him back. And look at the survivability of these two, just continuing to survive and find openings. Nair will do it. Strong hitbox and all.
Yeah, so I gotta say, if Amp does lose this second stock, I will be very afraid for their chances to not only win this one, if I'm being honest, but win the following in a 3-stock to 1-stock matchup. Going into the 1-stock deficit is already gonna be tough, but if Amp loses this one as well, that's gonna be even harder. And there it goes, 1 stock left on the board. Amp has to take down this Palutena, who's only racked 30% extra credit. So you've got to be careful, because this is absolutely still losable.
Yeah, 1 stock is all you need in Super Smash Brothers, and they're both on their last here, but this is the last hope of STAC in this first game here. Gets the up B back to ledge of these low percents, and off stage once more. That Nair can be so dangerous. I love the idea from Mateo to get aggressive, but the up B, odd kind of hitbox there, didn't go to ledge. It ended up knocking him upward, but it got him out of that potential ledge guard situation, and now we're getting into that danger zone for both players here. These strong hitboxes, they won't kill quite yet, but 1 or 2 of them at the right place at the right time could do it.
Right place, right time is what this game is all about, especially when you're just playing for that one tiny opening, that one small moment to strike. And it feels like poor Amp can't even touch the ground right now, let alone be worried about finding that final strike. The 10% differential going to be closed out. The 2-frame is found, but the forward air is dodged afterward grab. Back throw, Wolf's back throw, not notorious for its strength, and it's not going to be able to take down the Palu at 115%. This is the 3rd time they have been within a single percent of one another here in this matchup. This is as close can be. but unfortunately close is not going to cut it. Mateo from Fisher Spring will seal the deal and give Fisher their first win of the set. They only need one more to go, Soy. This is a best of 3 crew battle matchup, so they've done it once. Can you do it twice?
I mean, they look really strong off the start here, and good stuff to Mateo to be able to take that stock. Good stuff to Amp, though, to keep this one close, as I think at the end there is just a little bit of panic, just a little bit of kind of first game back jitters, because he uses that jump so early, and it's an easy follow-up from there. As Wolf off stage, the biggest thing is that you keep your jump. That is how you get most of your distance in your recovery, because that side B, everyone knows that angle, and that up B can only go so far. There's not a whole lot of distance on it. So keeping that jump just ended up betraying him there, as he used it early to get out of the free fall animation. But, semantics. They end up dropping that stock in that situation, and it's good stuff at the end of the day to Mateo. Palu looked clean, and kind of what I said earlier, in theory, it comes down to who gets that first opening. But what you saw was that it really came down to who gets the last laugh, right? Who gets that first stock at those high percents, because both players, both characters in the high percent scenarios, there's not necessarily a true combo. Paolo might find it a little easier with edge guards, but it's situational, right?
Yeah.
And so it becomes that game of who's playing safe enough but not overextending.
Yeah, and I actually, looking back, I said that they were within 1% of each other 3 times. I think it was 4, Soy. I think there were 4 separate times they were genuinely within point something of one another, because they were so breakneck back and forth, that close to each other every time. And it really came down to those micro plays, that micro spacing. Every single choice they made could have been the choice that led to that loss or that led to that victory. It's incredible to think that that's how close that matchup can come. Like you said, a big shout out to Amp for taking 5 stocks in total, just one shy of the maximum taken by the other Wolf player in this matchup. So 11 stocks taken by our Wolf players is definitely an interesting statistic to look at. But going into match number 2, because we've got at least match number 2, possibly a third matchup, coming around the corner. But that, of course, relies on STAC to win. I want to say there's 2 ways in which Fisher can approach this. They can bring in player number 3 because they didn't get any play time. You just want to get him in there. They took this time out of their schedule. You want to make sure whatever. Or if it ain't broke, there is no need to fix it. Your Wolf came out, he found 66% of the necessary value and felt very comfortable to walk away with it. So there's a couple ways to do this. Do they want to have fun, or do they want to run it down? And knowing Fisher College, I feel the run it down is a little more likely.
Yeah, I would agree. I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it has typically been the Fisher College way.
Absolutely.
But that being said, Mateo kept it very close off the start as well. We might see him slip into that starter slot as well. There's plenty of options for Fisher College, but you also have to play that mind game, right? Of, okay, well, Amp started to win that Wolf Ditto right off the bat. They were able to take that first stop. It was still close, but it was about 30-ish% or so, I think, deficit by the time Amp was able to take that first one. Do you risk it again? Because Amp seemingly is cooking right now, and STAC, right, they're going to need to come out of the gate swinging here. One of the big things that really gave the Fisher College squad from the previous season trouble was getting off to slow starts, right? Once you take that first player off the board, it's up to Fisher College to come up with that adaptation, and sometimes they don't adapt fast enough. That was an issue for them in the playoffs. STAC, now you have a little bit of in-game knowledge of, okay, we've got some players that are clicking right now, and some players that were getting shut down by the Wolf right off the bat. It becomes that mind game of, all right, how do we change that lineup from here? And it's something both teams have to consider.
Yeah, consideration is what it's all about right now. And for all of our lovely viewers who are sitting here thinking like, Sepp and Soy, there's no way we're already possibly half done. I've got great news, we might almost be done today, but tomorrow there's always something just around the corner. And coming up tomorrow, we have Valorant ECAC, which is what you're watching now, the Valorant division. That's at 8 p.m. tomorrow. should be right here on this channel, I'm pretty sure. So definitely go ahead and give that a watch. And this feels like the most appropriate time to remind you, if you like what you're watching, follow the channel, and then you'll know when we're doing things, and you won't have to miss out on anything because we are always here. Esports U is always here. Something is always going on. It is technically the preseason for Esports U right now, so they're not on the full 24-hour broadcast yet, but that is, as I said a moment ago, just around the corner. So you do not want to miss the incredible season, the incredible split we've got coming up. But you know, we've got to wrap up what we've got here before we worry about the future. And Fisher College wrap up is what they are looking to do. And so it's funny that you say, you know, something that kind of stalled out the Fisher College Smash team is a slow start, right? Because I spent a lot of time with Fisher Overwatch the last split. And it's funny because they often ran into that same issue where if they lost a map at all, it was map number 1. And then they were like, okay, the start was a little rough. Let's just jump over that hurdle and keep going. And it's funny to see that might accidentally follow through the video games, you know, into the program itself, where the beginning, if it's a little slow, they struggle. But if they come out and they set their own pace like Moxie's able to do there's nobody to stop this school right now. I mean, they are one of the most successful esports programs in the collegiate scene. And I think this spring's roster has showed us exactly why that is.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's a cultural thing, right? You build that ability to, you know, not only build each other up, but also it becomes about the changes that come throughout a season, right? You think, okay, you know, sometimes, for example, Fisher last year, or that Fisher squad that ended up winning last split was, you know, a team that just was getting so many highlight reel level plays off the start. And sometimes that puts you in a kind of cruise control state entering the playoffs. But here, you know, it's the start of the season. Players are playing hot, and we get a little bit of a switch up here. Sauce entering the mix to kick off round 2.
I'm excited. My wish was granted. We've got the third mystery player from Fisher Spring coming in. And like you said, it's Sauce on the Mario, going to be going up against Amp, still on that Wolf, able to take 5 stocks last time. Looking to break that record here, but it's going to be a Mario combo early on, not off the top last zone, 43%, so 3% differential. It's fascinating, Soy, because I feel Amp is great at winning and great at keeping things close, but we've been struggling to see Amp really take a lead.
Yeah, true. And I think one of the big reasons why is a lot of these players and a lot of these characters are making it really difficult. Mario isn't necessarily a counter. I think it's very even, but it's one of those things where both of these players and both of these teams, when you get one opening, they get so much out of it. And so it's hard to really get those extended lead. It's like lacrosse where the goals come in bunches rather than, you know, just one apiece. You get one and then it's usually 2 or 3 because the momentum just refuses to switch sides until you force it to. And that's what these two characters are really known for. Once they get that one opening, all of a sudden, all the momentum is in their favor. They have all the agency in the world.
Right.
It's about finding that one opening in the first place.
The one opening should be just around the corner here. The window beginning to close, but the door is going to be kicked off its hinges by anybody. The Mario up smash, up tilt is not going to be able to find any purchase yet. Dash attack from Amp, Wolf's favorite move. I love the cape. I think it's a genius play. It's essentially using Wolf's reflector against himself. You know, he's usually one to do that against projectile fighters, but knowing that Sauce has that in the arsenal makes it that much scarier to rely on that neutral B. That should be the stock. Mario grab back throw on the left side of stage is going to find that first stock off of Amp, and now Fisher Spring starting just, okay, maybe not just as strong as they did considering Moxie 3 stocked, but it's still pretty impressive here. They're able to take that first stock, and it looks like the second is going to be just around the corner. Unfortunately, not get the strong hit of the up B, but the neutral B, Flood, is not able to find it. Forward smash will finally pick up the pace a little bit, and that is the second stock off the board. Can Sauce find a 3 stock of their own?
Could be. 136, though, is going to make it pretty difficult. And yup, they're going to get called out on the recovery there. That's, again, Amp a couple times has really been scouting those jumps back to stage rather than players opting to go back to ledge in that scenario. And it's worked out for him fantastically so. But here, still down a stock, but I gotta say, there's just something about Mario players and the way that they just scout defensive options, the way that he is tracking Amp right now, it is so scary for Amp to approach.
Without a doubt. I think some of the scariest players I've ever met are Mario players. Like, it's incredible what these guys can do when they just lock in the Mario. They know the cooldowns, they know the lineups, they know everything they need to know, they know the combos, and so far, like you said, Sauce, an incredible defense, reading a lot of the moves Amp wants to bring to the table and negating them entirely, making it difficult for this Wolf to find value anywhere that isn't close range, and you run the natural risk of close range combat if they're just as close to you as you are to them. So I think Amp has not been able to adapt fast enough, unfortunately, and will not be able to adapt any longer here in set number 2 for this matchup. That is Mario taking down Wolf, and that is Fisher College running it down. Same old Fisher, they're able to take the lead in matchup number 1.
Great stuff to Sauce, but I do feel a little bad for Amp. I think if we had a replay, you'd see it's the step back of the forward smash from Mario that actually gets Amp killed. Amp threw out, I think it was a grab right at the last second there, and because Mario in that animation, the charge up is a step back and then push forward. The push forward is where the hitbox is, but it's the step back that actually shifts the hurt box. And so Amp ends up falling there, unfortunately. But, I mean, credit where credit's due for Sauce calling out, hey, he's going to be right here. He's not moving. He's not rolling. He's not shielding. He's going to be right here trying to be aggressive, and gets called out once again. And Sauce, I mean, fantastic stuff right off the bat. They find the first stock, and then the second stock, again, Mario's such an explosive character, and everyone thinks of that up air combo. But It's easier said than done because, well, again, everyone's thinking about it, so everyone knows how to play defense for it. Everyone's thinking, okay, I cannot get up tilted. I cannot stay on this platform for long, because if I get falling up aired, it's not going to be me at 0%. It's going to be me at 70.
Yeah.
And that's what happened on stock 2.
Without a doubt. And very quickly, unrelated, but to cover my own butt here, everybody watching, and they're like, what? Where is Septilence looking? What is he doing? I'm actively updating my spreadsheet, which is on my other monitor. So if you ever see me looking this way, you're like, what is he, writing a monologue? No, I'm updating the spreadsheet because I want to make sure it's as accurate as it can be this season, because one of my personal favorite things of the job we do, Soy, is just the analytics of it all. It's so fascinating to see, you know, how many times are we seeing this one character or this one stage, or which characters are we never seeing? That's always my personal favorite thing. Is I think last year for Esports, last split, I checked for Esports U, I think there were 16 characters we didn't see, which is not that many, honestly. I was amazed the number was so low that we've got such a diverse player pool right now. And then the fact that people are willing to play every character of the game, it also goes to show that Smash Ultimate, you know, it's not like a lot of other fighting games where, okay, you play this character and you win. You can play any character and win. And I think some of the best players in the world have gone on to prove that, winning majors with Yoshi and Olimar and Mr. Game & Watch. Like, there's a lot happening right now. And I think these collegiate players really get to highlight that. We don't have to be running Joker Aegis every other matchup. They're really playing what they want to play. And I think that's why I love collegiate, because it's just so fun that they can play the characters they love and still do well.
Yeah, competitive Smash is in a really fun kind of part of their scene right now, where you can kind of point to a player and say, okay, they do main this, but they also have a pocket here or there. But it's also about, you know, the one or two players kind of pushing the meta for their one specific guy, right?
Yeah, the Ganon players,
character, right? Yeah, you can kind of look to one character and say, oh, watch this person's video and learn what they're doing, and it's not necessary, and then you kind of take that and adapt your own style to it, and that's what you're seeing here out of Sauce. There's a couple of Mario players kind of making waves right now, but it's about what Sauce is doing right now to Neo Joe. He's tossing him up. Oh my mercy, what a forward air.
Neo Joe is having a terrible day, and I don't mean that like they're playing poorly. I mean like, oh my goodness, they just continue to get bodied out there. I feel so bad. It's these combos that are lining up perfectly against them, and Neo Joe is an incredible player, one of my favorite PTs, but right now has just not been able to find the footing they need. Luckily enough, Sauce was already down a stock, so it's not that detrimental, all things considered. You might be able to help tie the series back up, unless you get tried and true, completely bodied off stage, second time in a row. So I can't believe what I am seeing.
This is the danger of Sauce and any Mario that just is on lock. They get the combos going, and all of a sudden, it's Reed City. They get all the up airs, and everyone's thinking up B, even Neo Joe in that moment, and all of a sudden, wait, there's no up B. Instead, it's the forward air spike back to back here. And Sauce now on their last stock, already getting up aired, has to switch to the Charizard, but this is tough. Gets jab blocked. That's a forward smash. It's not the stock quite yet. Charizard's a heavy boy, but he's got to not being able to make it back to stage. But how can you? There's nowhere for him to run to.
It's like that game where you don't let the balloon touch the ground, except Neo Joe has been the balloon for the last 90 seconds. Oh my goodness, finally going to be landing here. Has a lot of value to work with. Like you said, Charizard, pretty heavy boy, so you're not devastated yet. Even if you can take a single stock off the board, you can make it that much easier for that third member of the STAC roster. But unfortunately, it just feels like Neo Joe cannot find their spacing, Soy, and space they shall not. That is going to be Neo Joe taken down quickly. 1 minute, 57 seconds off the clock. Sauce giving us their best Moxie impression right now, tearing through 2 members of the STAC roster.
I mean, Sauce is just on fire. There's no other way to say it, right?
Truly.
When you get those combos on lock, it's bread and butter right now for Sauce, and you mix in those reads, the mix-ups. We talk about it, the up B combo that worked in that first game against Amp. Instead, backtracks on it and says, no, I want the forward air. I want the spikes. I'm here for the style points. And he gets it back to back. Even the fireball snipe on Charizard, right? Using fire against the fire type. You wouldn't think that should work, but here it does. And all of a sudden, Sauce continues to have 2 stocks here. This is a massive lead.
A massive lead indeed, Soy. We are telling the exact same story we told just moments ago, and this time, there's no Amp in the wings. There's no Wolf to take 5 stocks. It's going to be up to, I presume, Derpager, because we haven't seen him yet, and I don't think we're going to be seeing a STAC roster where he's not on it as long as he attends that school. So I think Derpager is going to be this closer. So I will be completely bluntly honest and completely vulnerable with chat here. I don't know the Villager Mario matchup. I'm trying to think of what happens here. And I think this is just the Wolf dilemma all over again. Like, Mario can just collapse on top of you and you can do nothing about it if you don't have the space to work with.
It's a little different because the reflector isn't always a threat, right?
That's
Wolf
very
can
true.
hold that down B, and Mario can only use the cape, so sparingly.
Right.
And it is a little bit reactable. So it's a little bit easier for Derpager to get in the first place. But, I mean, it's like you said, right? Once Sauce gets in, Villager is in that kind of, I think, perfect kind of floatiness to speed ratio where they are going to be combo food for those up air chains if they get to that point in the first place, right? So
Yeah.
It's about Derpager here, and I think because that reflector is not always going to be a looming threat,
right,
the agency is going to be on Derpager's side. They're going to have control of the pace of the matchup. It's going to be Sauce playing defense, which is a little bit of a pace shift for them because
Definitely.
honestly, I mean, they were just playing offense that whole second game, but this time around, there's going to be a little bit more to kind of work through. Any projectile character is always going to be thinking about that reflector, but Mario does, at the end of the day, have the kill power. It's not just the combo game.
Yep.
It's every smash attack that he's landing, every potential upbeat finisher, or even, things like just raw back air, just out of nowhere, right? How many times did we see Sauce land those up air combos, and then instead of, not only the up B mix up, but the forward air to spike, but on stage he's going for things like back air because he gets the percentage out of it and he gets to, kind of reset the situation and play for the juggle game. And that's something that Sauce is, kind of accustomed to now.
Yeah, without a doubt. Sauce has to change the pace of play here. Presumably, you can't rush down Villager or it could cost you your stocks, and you do only have 2 of them. So maybe you're not feeling as adventurous. Pokemon Stadium 2 for the second time today. And Soy, I can't help it. My heart always drops when I see somebody jump off the stage. Like, it always takes me a second to remember. I'm like, oh, no. Oh, yeah, okay, right. I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense, actually. But now, as we're going to be setting out early, a 52% combo and counting 70. Up air, going to miss the nair, but the back air. There's a great example of the mix-up you were talking about, Soy. That back air comes out of nowhere.
And what it does, too, is it kind of resets stage control and puts Derpager in a bad spot all over again. He's got to find a new way back down to stage. But that's the power of Mario, right? And a couple of these players, once they get the ball rolling on some of these combos, they go for the read instead, and it just works better. It's another wrinkle to the game plan. It's something that not a lot of players are, quick to adapt to. Derpager, again, at an early percent deficit here, already kind of struggling because of the way Sauce is able to make his own count here. This is a decent kind of stall out, but it took so much for him just to get back to stage, and all it does is leave him open for one forward.
That forward air feels like it's just around the corner. I'm kind of hoping we get a cool moment where Temperature's Lloyd tanks a forward air because that's always a sick interaction, but it's a very difficult one to time where you don't also get hit by the forward air, so it's going to be a moment where Temperature wants to find that success, but there's another just wild card back air that nobody is ready for, and in the time Temperature has lost their first stock, Sauce has just now reached that 80% threshold, and not even, there we go, the Nair going to kick you up to 90. Here we go, Temperature just needed a second to wake up, but he is coming back to life, a 103%, 110, Lloyd into Slingshot, into Firework, but it's going to cause a grab up air Nair combo, but I'm not sure if the action is going to be online like Derpinger needs it to be to find this second stock.
Ooh, no, and now he's getting up air too. That Nair going to be clutch to get him out of that combo there. Huge opportunity. Going to shield, or sorry, cape the Lloyd rocket for now. 55% here on Derpinger. This is still within arm's reach, but oh my, Sauce was out for blood and nearly found it. But luckily, Derpinger able to get out with that back throw. So one stock left on Sauce. Derpinger here has to play careful. Can't afford to give up too much ground here because anything that Sauce gets is that extra credit that we love to talk about. The Rapid Jab just holding it on shield, chipping away at this Mario stock.
Underrated move, by the way. Just holding Rapid Jab on shield like that, underrated as heck, depending who you're up against, of course. But I think it's something I'd like to see from players more often, because it really does close out a couple of options and force your opponent into a much more streamlined flowchart. And this flowchart seems like Derpinger could have it on lock if he can just find this final stock, so he's so much easier said than done. Grab into probably forward throw, into probably jump up air, but he's looking for the back air. Out for blood once again, can't find purchase in air, pops them both, but the up air saves Derpinger's life. Back onto stage, this second stock still up and loaded. Bowling ball finds not, double up smash, Firework, not gonna find a darn tootin' thing. The Lloyd, still no, the Firework, no, grab into forward throw. Show me the flood, show me the forward air, but no, it's the cape onto the Lloyd. Derpinger desperate to stay alive here. They need both these stocks going into matchup number 3. Grab, back throw, but Villager, one of the worst back throws in the game, not finding purchase anytime soon. The timing, phenomenal from Sauce to stay alive through that bowling ball.
111 to 130 here. That's still not going to do it. Up air, soft hitbox, and go. There it is, the solid hitbox there. I believe that was back air coming through, and I think that was a scary moment for both players.
Absolutely.
But Derpinger gets the job done, takes one off the board here for Fisher College, but still 2 players remain for the Falcons.
Oh my goodness, so I'm going to be honest, I forgot there were 2 players left. I thought it was 1. Oh my goodness. Oh man, 6-2. That does stink, you know, that's tough. But I did say earlier, and I stand by this, I've seen Derpinger 9 stock before. I have seen it happen with my own eyes, so I know that he is a very capable player. And honestly, and I hope this is not coming off as patronizing, I have a lot of respect for Villager players because I played him in Smash 4. I was never able to make him work in Ultimate. I had to abandon the grind, but the fact there are players out here who can play at this caliber on Villager and still do it well, I mean, my hat off to you because I found it incredibly difficult. So to come out here and kick butt like that, that'll always impress me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Villager is not the easiest character in the world to make work. It works so uniquely from the rest of the cast, right? Because even things like that forward air or back air that were able to take the final stock off of Sauce, you got to remember that the more distance on it, the weaker the move gets. It's the fact that he was in so close that actually ended up killing Sauce there. And it's a mix-up in its own right, because 9 times out of 10, when you're in that situation, it's another up air incoming, right? Villager, that up air is pretty strong usually. In fact, it got him to that juggle situation in the first place. Why not go for another up air? Well, because he waits out the air dodge, and all of a sudden, it's an easy back air setup. And those are the mix-ups that we saw Sauce doing earlier in this match that now we're seeing Derpinger use here. And now they've got 2 stocks to work with. Like I said, Smash is a game where you only need 1, but this is still, for anybody, a tall task.
It truly is a Herculean task at its finest. Luckily enough, you kept that second stock. You're not going into this with only 1 life on the board. You've got a single redo button, and the second you press it, you are out of attempts. You've got to follow through on that third and final stock. But I'm eager to see who comes in next for the side of Fisher, because we didn't see Sauce at all that entire time. So Moxie still in the wings. Mateo, fantastic at cleaning up in that last series. Could very likely still be around. Either way, I'm scratch everything I just said. I'm fairly confident Moxie is coming in next because of the Wolf Villager matchup. Moxie did a very strong job earlier, did a really good job at canceling out Derpinger. Derpinger kept it close, but also won by the skin of their teeth or lost by the skin of their teeth. And that's when they both had 3 stocks. So already coming into this down a stock is going to be even harder. I think the Wolf makes a lot of sense now that I've thought it through.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it felt like Moxie was just playing hot. They were getting every defensive read, and it's those ability to read air dodges, and the juggle game of Fisher College is seemingly kind of the staple play here, right? Yeah. Between the Wolf and the Mario, even Palutena's juggle game is pretty good. So like it's one of those things where you get your player into disadvantage, and how much can you get out of it? That's what Fisher College has really kind of put an emphasis on for this roster in particular. And they know that, you know, these are characters that you get them off stage and their recovery is a little bit, you know, minimized. They don't have a ton of options at a disadvantage. The defense isn't always that great. And so they just said, okay, let's make our offense count. Let's, you know, make that 1 or 2 openings we get have to count. And all of a sudden, you can see these kind of explosive swings in percentage, and it pays dividends in the long run because it's so hard to play defense, especially here for Derpinger at the high percents against, say, a Palutena, for example. There's so many different ways that Palutena can just land a strong hitbox seemingly out of nowhere just for you trying to approach and trying to find a window back into the game.
I swear Fisher is memeing me. They heard me say Wolf, and they said, oh, never mind, swap it, Mateo, go in. No, but this is going to be a tough one, no doubt about it. And I was just taking a look while you were talking about the general kind of tier list of Smash Ultimate right now, and it's incredible that Villager, this kind of last man standing of the STAC roster, is the lowest tier character we've seen so far today by a reasonable amount. I mean, he is considered a pretty low tier character, definitely in the bottom 50%, and it's up to Derpinger to make this wild card work, right? To play with this character a lot of people have written off, to come out and cancel out Palutena, who many consider a top 10, if not top 5 fighter.
Yeah, Derpinger here saying, I don't care about your tier lists. I'm gonna do what I can to bring this one back. And we'll have to see what they can do here. 37% early, and one of the things that Derpinger does really well that we mentioned in the last series, I'm curious to see if we'll get here, is that change of play, right? We talked about how they were able to chip away at the Mario, but here against Palutena, it's not going to be nearly as easy. The thing to do might be play that boxing game. It's a lot more dangerous against Palutena because there are so many moves that Palutena's, you know, in close can kill you with, but it might be something that Mateo is not ready for, considering how they played against Amp the Wolf.
Yeah, this is actually, I'm so glad you bring up Amp right now, because this playstyle currently really reminds me of Amp on the side of Derpinger, because it feels like a lot of, okay, I can keep it close. Keeping it close is not what we need right now, Soy. We need Derpinger to go above and beyond, to really get in there, just blood, sweat, and tears going through, finding the stock onto Mateo as early as possible, and that's just to tie the game at 2 stocks to 2 stocks. But as Derpinger already jumps to nearly 100% on the second stock, this is where I start to get a little concerned about the odds of winning this matchup.
Yeah, it gets real difficult from here on out.
That makes me feel a little better.
They do take the first stock, and that's 1 off the board here. They need the next 2. And this is where the difficulty comes in, but this is also where Derpinger has thrived in the past. You know, some of those comebacks, those 9-stock victories that we've talked about, they've come at these high percents because all of a sudden they fall out of combo windows and they are able to avoid moves like that up air. If all the hits connect there, that's surely the stock. But speaking of, back air catching just before Derpinger can land. Counter also going to help rack up that percent. And we've seen Mateo throw that counter out quite frequently here, keeping Derpinger honest and neutral.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. You know, if Derpinger can still go on to win this, and they can go into the last matchup with 1 stock, of course it's possible. The motto of this evening, 1 stock's all you need, but getting there is so difficult right now, especially with this Palutena just collapsing on top of you time and time again. Derpinger has had no time to set up. I think we've seen a tree 1 time, and it's while Mateo was respawning. That's the only time they've been able to get that out. We're not seeing as much slingshot as I'd like, not as much firework to kind of shake up those off-ledge approaches, but it's all about just trying to get in for that moment, because even the smallest window of opportunity can be enough for a player like Derpinger to thrive.
So Mateo right now has kind of scouted the game plan here, and it's up to Derpinger to adapt, because what Derpinger is doing right now is he's playing the horizontal game. He's playing east to west here. He's throwing out Lloyd Rockets. He's chipping away at this stock, trying to get the damage, and Mateo is saying, okay, if I have to avoid that, then I'm going to jump and I'm going to quickly land on you. My speed is just faster. You won't be able to react. And Derpinger is holding on to moves like up tilt, like up air, like up smash, because those are the kill moves that Derpinger has in his kit. And now Mateo has to be ready for it. He's kind of been conditioned into it. We'll see if Derpinger opts to pull that trigger.
We've got to find out, so because we're getting to that now or never moment. You know, we're getting to that 102% on Villager. That's a forward tilt from death. That is maybe a sloppy back air from death. But no, Derpinger is going to be able to stay alive. It's not even stay alive to thrive. It's thrive to stay alive right now. 140 full range Palutena staring you in the face, and you've got to find that final hit just to set her down to her final stock. You then have to go on and take the third stock without
disconnecting.
Without disconnecting.
Oh, there we go.
I'm not sure what that was, but I'm glad we're back. 147 on the board, and Derpinger, I'm sure, kind of just absolutely soaked in sweat right now. This is such a difficult spot to be in, but as I mentioned earlier, you know, at least it's just week one, and I don't know if you're going to run into a better roster than Fisher Spring in every other week for the rest of this season. So maybe it was just pulling the bad card, and it is a great card on the side of Mateo from Fisher Spring, who's able to win that one out and guarantee the victory here today for Fisher Spring. This is just the first thing I said about this team, first critique I gave, you got to prove yourself. You've got huge shoes to fill. They said, all right, bet. And I would confidently say the shoes were filled. So I'm very impressed with this Fisher Spring roster.
Heck, they doubled down on it and said, hey, we'll go for some style points. I mean, Moxie coming out with those huge early stock swings, and then Sauce, who we didn't even see in the first round, is able to get 0 to deaths. I mean, that's just, it is so impressive to see right out of the gate. Right, and we talked about how sometimes teams get off to a slower start, and old Fisher College squads have done that in the past sometimes, where it's been close in round one, and maybe they give it up, maybe they don't, but then from there on, they're able to adapt and overcome. Here, it was early advantage all day long for Fisher College, and once they grabbed the lead, they never lost it.
And I hope that STAC can watch this. And I'll be honest, I was hard on STAC for a lot of this, but only because I know this is a fantastic team, and I know they can take the criticism, and I know that they are looking to improve. That's why I don't mind saying those things, you know, being very honest about what I wanted to see and the expectations that were not met today. But I know that STAC is not going to take this lightly, Soy. That's one of my favorite things about that team, is this is going to light a fire underneath them. It's week one, yeah, but they are not a team used to losing, like, ever. So I'm very excited to see what this kind of does in a positive sense. Okay, we lost week one. Let's go tear it up for the other 7. Like, let's really get out there and make our way back into finals again. But for the time being, we got to say goodbye to STAC here tonight. Not goodbye to us quite yet. We've got an interview coming at you in just a couple of minutes. Don't go far.
/twitter.com/Septilence. Don't put that in. I'll get in trouble. So that's worth it. Did I get too close to the camera on that one? A little bit too close? Should I back up a little bit? Okay, sorry about that. My bad. I've been awake for probably close to 32 hours. Like, I have to hold my keyboard the normal way, because if I do it, I feel like I have arthritis and I hold my keyboard like that. It blows my mind. I can never do that. This guy right here, he's got his keyboard off at an angle. His isn't that extreme. There's a kid all the way down to the far end who has his keyboard all the way at a horizontal.
That's really cool.
They're going to be at that table right over there.
Public information?
Oh, I don't know. But this isn't live, so it doesn't matter.
It's not live, but you and I know.
Yeah, we know.
I'm not going to tweet it.
Awesome. What game do you play?
Smash Bros.
Who do you play? Is it embarrassing? Is it like Villager?
Yeah.
Is it Villager? Am I spot on? Oh my god. Is it the Ice Climbers?
No.
Is it Game & Watch?
No.
Is it Pichu?
No.
Is it Wario?
No.
I can keep going. I think I can name every character in the game. Is it, did I say the Ice Climbers already?
Yeah, you said them.
Is it them? No. Is it them a second time?
No.
Okay, alright. Oh, is it one of the Links?
Yes, it is.
Is it Toon Link?
It is.
Oh, that is pretty embarrassing. That is rough. Who do you play?
I'll give you $20 if you guess correctly right now.
First try? Give me a single hint.
It's an obscure character.
Obscure character.
Not played very often.
Is it Wii Fit Trainer?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I'm the interviewer for a reason, baby. I do what I do. I don't need the money. I appreciate it, though. I appreciate it. So Bowser Jr., Wii Fit, and I forgot already. Are you all lying to me? Am I being gaslit?
No.
Bowser Jr., Wii Fit, and you told me already. Oh, Toon Link. Yep. Where's my main support at? Who are we playing this weekend?
A lot of Brig.
A lot of Brig, really?
Brig Lucio, probably.
Brig Lucio, really? I shouldn't say that too loud. I don't want to give away your strategies. It's over-under?
What do you mean over-under?
Like, do we think we're going to podium? Do we think we're going to come in last place?
Not last place.
Not last place.
Certainly not last.
What about, like, 5th place?
That's doable.
That's doable? That's winnable? 3rd place?
Third place.
That's where things get dicey?
No. That's very doable.
Okay.
First place? That's very doable.
First place, very doable. Love it. That's the mindset. That's what he loves to hear. Yeah. Oh my God. Hold on. Cut the cameras. Well, who are you? Hello. Oh my God. I saw you earlier. I saw the back of your shirt. And I was like, I know that name. I know him. It's a quick play game. They Q-sniped each other at land. I thought it was a scrim. It's just unlucky. Are you actually a Villager player?
Yeah.
How do you feel about Villager being notably worse in Smash Ultimate than they were in Smash 4?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know? You never play Smash 4?
No.
Oh, that's all right. Nobody's gonna hold that against you. Now, who do you play?
I play Robin.
Okay, wow. Did you know Robin has the lowest pick rate in the game?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Come on, the LEDs, it looks just like Samus.
Huh?
Do you disagree?
I guess I can see
The
it.
Samus vibe. Show the controller to the camera. We're interviewing. This is recording, by the way. April Fools. There's no interview. Sorry, folks. We didn't know. I didn't know when I threw it to a break, but Fisher College is busy tonight. They've got a lot going on, so we're not going to hold it against them. That does, unfortunately, bring this entire evening to a close. It was a quick one, but I'll say, it was a good one. I really enjoyed it. If you liked what you saw today, I've got great news. We've got more action going on tomorrow. It's going to be Wake Forest versus Bryant College, too. I'm just saying it's completely my own opinion. Very, very talented Valorant teams. It's going to be an incredible matchup tomorrow at 8 p.m. ET. Two of my good friends are on the mic for that as well, so it's going to be a fun one. But that does bring right now to a close. Thank you to both teams for coming out tonight. We literally could not do this without you. You're the whole reason we're all here. Big shout out to Colton, our producer in the back line, for making everything possible and making the wonderful new overlays you guys all saw today. And of course, thank you all for watching. Check your posture, drink some water. Don't forget to love each other, and we'll see you in the next one.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking big.
We're at the Collegiate Esports Commissioners Cup. Let's make some noise.
Oh, and it's gonna be what? Corner judge is good for 1, 2, dip. He needs more. They're doing even more here.
You gotta touch the point. Mr. College walks it in. Toy Boy is gonna drop.
Knife him.
Right out in front.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Running.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the ECAC Top Plays of the Week. I am Septilance, and I'm super excited to walk through these with you so you can see all of the great moments we are getting out of collegiate esports. One of my favorite things about these seasons is as they go on, as the years continue to pass, the skill ceiling just gets higher and higher, and the teams get better and better. Starting things off in week 1 and 2, these teams came out the gate swinging. Let's take a look at what they were ready to bring out in these early weeks. Valorant is a game all about risk versus reward, and Sin from NYIT wanted to show us just how much he was willing to risk to get that great reward of a round win.
Sort of forced to pop off, maybe get a little bit more sniper play, but these direct, tight angles make it tough. You have Axorus that actually gets a wallbang headshot onto Prime. Oh, that timing on the paranoia works so well.
Yo, give it up for the util, bro. Sin's gonna pick up 3 into the site. It's a lurk on its way from the chamber, but unless you're going to spam through this box, you're not getting anything done, and Panda won't even let him get that far.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a game that can be decided in milliseconds, and Waka, one of the best players from SUNY Canton A Squad, wanted to show us just what they can do with only a second and a single stock on the board.
Cena, sledge option going to be charging forward smash, going a little early. They're not quite getting what you want. Drop shield after first hit, and Pin getting hit by the kick. High percent. There is the stun into Claw. That Claw could be charged for a lot longer. Oh my goodness, that's a forwarder into stage with the stage spike and then upping immediately after. What a sick.
1 point in Rocket League can never make a team feel comfortable, but Driftsy wanted to show us that not only was he going to pick the pace up, but he wasn't going to let his team down.
Defensive test with flying colors, though they couldn't get out, and that is the important part at the moment. Clears a must for UA, and it's just not in the cards at the moment.
Dripsy! Dripsy connects off the backboard! What a shot! I watched it unfold slowly. You stopped speaking at just the right moment.
Valorant is often called a team-based shooter, but sometimes it can't just be about the team. Sometimes you gotta have those hero plays. SPEC wanted to spray and pray and was actually able to save the day for SVSU, tying up the series 7-7.
Hard B push here, 2 Omen smokes coming out. 1, SPEC just finds 3. What? Spraying through the smoke? Oh, 1 SPEC, that's not legal, man. That's not legal. This is match day 2 of the ECAC League. You can't be doing that right now. SPEC just goes with the call.
Here in this clip, Fanshawe finds themselves with their backs against the wall, 20 seconds left on the clock, and they're desperate to take down Wake Forest. They don't have anything to get through this team, they don't have any weapons on the field, but with Jackie Moon in the wings, at least they had a sniper.
Apparently. Guys gonna believe all the shots. Oh, a sniper! Jackie Moon from about midway through. What a shot right here from Jackie.
Wow, good eye sniper. Yes, sir. Jackie Moon puts us on the right side. A little bit more to the left. This one would have been...
Here in this clip, we're going to get a great moment from a Pac-Man, and as a Pac-Man player, I was super excited to see it. We're going to hear a lot of praise from our commentators giving Mosey those compliments of choosing Snake against Pac-Man, a great counter pick. They were super excited to see a Snake on the field, but even without their blessing, Trollery does not yield.
But like you said, he's trying to play this safe because losing a stock right now for Concord would be really bad. And, well, a little bit of commentator's curse there. We kind of willed that one into existence. Oh, man. Oh my goodness! What?
Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, Septilence, how could that be all we got from weeks number 1 and 2? Please tell me there's more. If you like what you saw, you've got to go check out ECAC Esports on also